our divisions of opinions, beliefs, and perspectives, we embrace curiosity, exploration, and expanded awareness of the gifts of diversity. Where there is fear of the other, we stand for inclusivity and peaceful acceptance of another's right to create the life of his or her choosing. Where there is oppression and hatred, we stand for justice and understanding and for extending compassion, kindness, and forgiveness to restore balance. Do you agree with that? Yeah, good. Where there is discrimination, we stand for inclusivity and equality. We take that in. And there's a lot more stuff we believe too. As you keep coming and getting to know us, you'll get it, and we are grateful to share it. So let's begin our service with our first hymn, Surely the Present. And if you'll stand, please.
All right, what a blessing to be here. I feel like I'm a member of this church because I get to stream and edit your guys' service every week. So I am Kat Bell, as they said, and my pronouns are she, her, and hers. I am from Unity of Springfield. So that is a very big honor to be here today and share space with you guys. As you can see on the screen, I am a proud mama to my canine daughter, Miss Cora Bell, and my two feline royalty members of the Bell Castle, Mr. Prince Red and the lady in waiting, Samadhi. I'm very proud to be there. She's always looking for a mouse to be found. So I've been a part of Unity of Springfield for about 6 years now. I've been producing the live stream there for 3 years. I do own a media company, and my passion is making videos. I've had the honor of producing over 150 videos for Unity of Springfield. It is definitely my passion for Unity Ministries, and I definitely believe that the power of the principles change lives. Amen? Yes. So I'm honored to share my story with you today. This is actually the second time in 3 days that I have shared my story, which is kind of like, wow, okay, here we go. But I want to say a big shout out to your production team. I definitely know what that is like. There are so many moving components when it comes to live streaming. There's audio in the house, audio online, and trust me, in my 3 years, we've gone through 3 systems. It can definitely be a challenge. So I know Mike's not here today, but a shout out to them. So I am here to share a message from trauma to transformation. First, I want to say, while I do have a master's in family therapy, I am not a licensed therapist, and my message is about my journey only and what has worked for me. I do have a lifetime of trauma and experiences, so while I may share with some tools and tips with you today, this is only my journey, and everyone's journey is different. To paraphrase my spiritual mother, she said, although Unity teachings are therapeutic, they're not meant to replace therapy. Isn't that good? I love that. So if you struggle with crisis or traumatic situation, please do seek help. Trauma is a broad subject. There's no way I could cover it today. But to be sensitive to this topic and the struggles that do come with this, I'm going to vaguely go through some basic trauma that I have experienced and how with Spirit, all things are possible, even the healing of trauma. So what is trauma? Trauma is separation from self, something that has happened in the past that keeps us hurting in the present. People have many different ways of handling stress, which impacts their ability to cope with trauma. So here are some brief facts about trauma. Everyone processes trauma differently. Trauma is not what happens to people. Trauma is what happens inside the person. Trauma separates us from self, as I said. the inability to be ourselves in the present moment. Trauma can make you more vulnerable to developing mental health problems, and it can also cause and direct post-traumatic stress disorder, otherwise known as PTSD. Some people misuse alcohol, drugs, or self-harm to cope with difficult memories and emotions. Depending upon how you are affected, trauma may cause difficulties in your daily life. But I am here today to proclaim that we don't have to stay stuck in trauma. And isn't that wonderful news? We don't have to stay there. We're spiritual beings having a human experience. And even the father of our ministry got that. Papa Fillmore said in his book, Keep a True Lent, that our quest for truth must begin with self-knowledge. Our first step towards building spiritual enlightenment is the awareness that we have an inherent knowledge of truth. We cannot change what we're not aware of. This is ordinarily knowledge that is about the personality, the ego of who we are, and there's genuine knowledge about Christ, of what we are. However, self-knowledge is a true prelude to Christ consciousness. So, a little bit about me. So I was adopted at 3 days old, and I was raised in a preacher's home. My daddy held churches in Oklahoma, Missouri, Illinois, Kansas, California, Arizona, and Kentucky. I was afforded many experiences and opportunities there. It taught me a lot of things and encouraged me to use my gifts while serving others. I cherish a lot of things, especially Kentucky. I'm a die-hard UK basketball fan. So awesome there and beautiful. If you've never gone, you got to go. So my whole family was in the ministry. My dad was a minister in the Christian church, and my brother currently is a minister in church in Springfield. After high school, my family wanted me to go to Ozark Bible College. Does that sound familiar? All right. So I'm a survivor of what I refer to as a fundamentalist dogma background. And while I respect their beliefs, I do not support it because I do believe that dogma causes trauma. One thing on this journey I've learned, if you keep running for God, He will put you right back in the same place until you address it. And who would have thought all these years later, I would be standing literally a mile away here in Unity. Isn't God good? Amazing. So as a child, I didn't know my power. Being raised in the Christian church, we were taught we were powerless without God, scripture, or theological concepts that are used to control behavior, telling you to pray for forgiveness, that we have to earn salvation. I spent all of my life into early adulthood just trying to earn the acceptance of my family. I see you back there, sister. Thank you. So if you were made to feel like Jesus, you were disappointed in, or He was mad at you because of your behavior or choices or experiences that you were going through in religious trauma. But the good news, in John 10:30, Jesus said, I and the Father are one. So I continue to challenge my fundamental belief system because of my divine spirit. See, the light that you seek is not without, but within. So these toxic teachings and practices entrapped me for many years. I was constantly fearful that I was going to hell, and I struggled with my sexuality. I even got married because of those fears, and I even came to Ozark when I really didn't want to come to Ozark. I went through a lot of trauma, and I even was a survivor of a domestic abuse relationship and thought I was not lovable because of the damage that sexual abuse and domestic abuse does. I thought I was separated from God because of my choices. I continued to battle my sexuality, and slowly I began to deconstruct who and what I was. I would read scriptures like John 12:14. Truly I say to you, whoever believes in me will also do the works that I do, and greater works than these he will do. So I would ask myself, doesn't that kind of contradict? If I had to earn God's love, how will I do greater works than Jesus? religious trauma. It's a result of experiences that occur in a religious community, within a church or spiritual community that exposes the members to indoctrination, messages, humiliation, embarrassment, and abuse. So moving on, in 2004, I came out as a gay woman. My family did not accept me as a gay woman. I was told things such as, I can't come home because you're gay, you'll know, can never bring a partner here, just pray the gay away, and I was forced to go to conversion therapy. Every time I was around any family member, I experienced a lot of guilt and condemnation, and I was really like the black sheep of the family. I was very suicidal, and I did not want to live. I did not feel I had a purpose. Religious trauma is toxic, hurtful, and has wounded our LGBTQIA+ community greatly. Then in 2005, I was hit head-on by a drunk driver at 55 miles an hour. I was ejected from the car, which would later become not 1, but 8 major car wrecks. I did say 8. In 2015, the car wreck I was in caused a traumatic brain injury, and my life radically changed. I began to have trouble with memory, speaking, talking, processing. My brain was altered in 3 different places. I began a journey of confusion, not knowing who I was, but figuring out how to survive daily in daily activities and functions. I couldn't put words together. I couldn't handle stress. It was a very scary time. So trauma lays a foundation for all of your choices, actions, your focus, how you manifest, how you feel, deal, heal, and reveal. As I said earlier, everyone handles trauma differently, but my drug of choice was emotional eating. I began eating my pain away, and in 2022, I was at my all-time high of 335 pounds. Eating emotionally, or however you want to define it, is a food addiction. It is an addiction. I had eaten all my pain and just really didn't want to live, and destroyed my life from a lot of trauma that we don't have time to go into here today. Long story short, I had no quality of life. So as with any addiction, what you resist persists. What you don't express suppresses. I couldn't go into a Walmart. I couldn't go into a grocery store or other stores. My legs were damaged from carrying 335 pounds around, as well as car wreck trauma. I couldn't walk to the car without stopping to breathe. I couldn't go places unless I could sit down. And I even had to pay for someone to clean my 500 square foot, 1-bedroom apartment. I couldn't take my dog and walk her more than a block. Just imagine for a moment what kind of a life you would have in that situation. Inside, I literally felt like a dead man's corpse slowly rotting away, and I wanted to die. I had all my wills done, letters written, things left, dog taken care of. I was ready, felt useless. Even though I had a lifetime of trauma, my biggest trauma was traumatizing myself. I had to make a decision. Do you want to live or do you want to die? Thus, we have swimming. He is the water of life, right? Awesome. So, if we are willing to do the work, almost anything can be healed. Even when we think it's working against us, it's actually working for us and for our highest good. With spirit, all things are possible, even the healing of trauma. But in order to heal from trauma, we have to be willing to do the work in all aspects. Again, complete wholeness, spiritually, mentally, physically, emotionally. John 12:14 says, "Truly, truly, I say to you, whoever believes in me will also do the works that I do, and greater works than these will he do." Again, we have that amazing affirmation from Jesus Christ. If you follow me online, it's under Kat Bell, you'll get to see as I documented my entire journey this year. And this past Friday night, just 2 days ago, I was honored to celebrate with my friends a 100-pound loss party. It's so much fun. Thank you. Louise Hay has an amazing author. She has written a lot of wonderful material on YouTube. And in her book, Love Yourself, Heal Your Life, she said, love is the greatest miracle cure. Loving ourselves works miracles in our lives. And I found that when we really accept and approve of ourselves exactly as we are, then everything in life works. If you're willing to do the mental work, almost anything could be healed. See, it's not about how perfect you do it or how far you've come, because as humans, we like to measure those things. But it's about letting go of what no longer serves you purpose. Toxic people, as you all know, are everywhere. However, many of us have been so gaslighted, we're not even recognizing it's happening right in front of us, and that we just think it's normal. When a family loves through conditions and limitations, it's so damaging. Being open to recognize it's time to go and let go will radically change your life for good. So how do we do that? How do we come out of trauma? Well, these are some tips that has worked for me. You need to establish what I call your dream team. Your tribe is your vibe. You cannot heal from trauma alone. Most of us that are going through trauma like to isolate. And while alone time is good, it's not good to stay there. Some of us are still caring about something that happened to us 45, 50 years ago that's preventing us from love, laughter, and joy, and enjoying life. You'll never make it to the destination if you stop and throw stones at every dog that barks. That was by Winston Churchill. Secondly, apply gratitude. Affirmations are big. You guys do affirmations in your service, and I love to hear those. You have to apply self-compassion. That's so big. We are our worst critics, or at least I am. It's very important that we apply compassion to ourselves. And that's not a fast thing. We just want to fix it, right? It takes years, a lifetime of applying those things. Apply forgiveness when it comes to worship. It's really about worthyship, because that's the only way we can tap into the true Christ consciousness, is to know we're worthy of love. And apply caution. Not everything is good for you. Not every person is best for you. Sometimes it's just a season to be with those people, and sometimes it's a lifetime. Know what is safe and best for you. I do believe many religions and mindsets are teaching to be codependent on their teachings rather than interdependent. That is what is so awesome about unity as a whole. No dogma or no doctrine in the world can fix you. You have to invest in yourself, and you have to learn how to be practical with yourself. Does that sound familiar? Positive, practical spirituality. As a society, we often put our ministers and leadership on a pedestal. I recall as a kid, I often would be called, this is not Cat, this is the preacher's kid. Oh, so hated that. We were watched and we were analyzed all the time. We are human and we face our own struggles. Rachel is human. Jessica is human. We're all human and in this together. There's a difference between being mentored by your spiritual leadership or being managed. Let me say something important here. Don't work through trauma without help. It's a very dangerous place to go alone, and you need professional help to support you through that. You should always be seeking therapy and working through your triggers until you feel you don't need it anymore. It's the only thing, this is one of my favorite quotes, and it says, "It's okay if the only thing you do today is get up and breathe." That's so hard for me. Is that hard for anybody else? But it's so true, right? Spirit wants us to relax and stay in the flow, and also allow yourself some grace. Also, I want to talk about, speaking of technology, for those that don't know, has been proven to have energy, because, right, it's energy and matter, and causes a lot of stimulation in your life. More than ever, they're seeing now more children that are not grounded, autism, mental health disorders are on the rise, higher than any other time in our history. So please consider that and get with people, communicate, get in person like you are here today. Livestream is great. It's a great tool to provide, but it's not meant to replace your experience and your situation as part of the church. So spend time on the ground. I recently found a documentary called Grounding. It's on YouTube. And they were talking about how when your feet hit the grass, all the electrons from the universe come right up into you. And 30 minutes a day of walking in the grass grounds you. So I tried it out. It really does work. And you know what? It even grounded my dog. I was so happy. Balance in your life is important. Self-grounding is mandatory. I will say that first, from a survivor to a thriver of trauma. You have to learn how to ground yourself, and that's the awesome thing about meditation. I'm so glad that Unity doesn't teach that yoga is wrong, like I heard as a child, or that Buddhism patterns and thoughts and mindsets are wrong. I'm so glad that we can be every human all into one spirit. So that's important. So in closing, I'm getting old, y'all. This is a quote that I would almost be willing to bet that Myrtle and Charles would have written. It's very in alignment with their principles and teachings. Every cell in my body vibrates with energy and health. Loving myself heals my life. I nourish my mind, body, and soul. My body heals quickly and easily. One of the things I used to tell my therapist is that it would take forever for me to get over something because obviously I spent a lifetime going through something. And she would say to me, you know, when you're willing to let something go, you would be surprised how fast spirit works. And here I am today. Never would have thought that. So, speaking of acceptance, as a queer woman, I want to talk about pride because we have Pride coming up. It's really important to show your support. I believe from a list that Rachel had, there's only 5 to 6 churches in all of Joplin that support our community. So we can do better. So please, even if it's just an hour or two, show up and support. We need grandmothers that we never had. We need mamas that we never had. Or papas, like my Papa Les. So thank you so much for allowing me to share my story. It's truly an honor. And wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Ashe.
Thank you, thank you. And Caden, could you go back to the slide of those affirmations? That was really powerful, really powerful. Can we just read this together and affirm it for ourselves? Every cell in my body vibrates with energy and health. Loving myself heals my life. I nourish my mind, body, and soul. My body heals quickly and easily. Thank you, God, and thank you, Kat. What an inspiring story. Wasn't that powerful? Yeah.
I forgive me. I forgive him. Everything that I've been holding on to, I let go. I surrender. I surrender. Then I'm ready for much change
This is my dream. We know that, right?
Who's that beautiful girl?
I'm trying to get this. Okay, so we're going to do a little pre-setup before the surgery because there's no way this would have even been a part of my life had we not had my history there. I'm just going to go with you because I can't see this print. All right, so as I said earlier, I was adopted at 3 days old. I was raised in a fundamentalist preacher's home and love my family and my daddy dearly. That's my daddy with me as a little kid. That's my mama. And then that's me as a little girl.
Aww. Oh my gosh, you're so beautiful. That little angel.
So, trauma makes a big difference in your life of how you experience that, how you counter it. It lays a foundation for your choices, for your reactions, for your focus, and what you manifest into your life. Obviously, we only do what we know or are aware of at that time, but it changes, makes a lot of difference. So however you feel, heal, deal, and reveal, that's why I love that line, is everything. And so for me, these are the things I survived. I could talk a night about this too, but I did survive a major domestic abuse situation where both of my dogs were killed in front of me.
Oh my gosh.
So if you see me a little hypervigilant about animals, that's why, because I'm very, very protective of them. Yeah, it was difficult. And so that all determines how you cope with trauma and also some other family abuse that we won't get into tonight. Like I said, I could talk all night. So how I handled things, how I handled my life. I wasn't really, I'm not going to say, I will definitely say white privileged family, but I wasn't really taught a lot of things. It was just done for me because I was the woman, the female child, not